Tuloy pa ka din agad.
Agak-agak.
Ano ini dito.
Tin.
Ini.
Halo yo.
Ito, may haran nila ng mga kuwan.
The 64th session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 20th Congress is hereby called to order.
May tag nito.
May we request Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan to lead the chamber in prayer.
Ilagay natin ang ating mga sarili sa harap ng Diyos. Panginoong Diyos na habag, lumalapit kami sa inyo bilang isang bansa sa aming oras ng katotohanan. Nagpapakumbaba kami at humihiling sa inyo. Magtatag ng katarungan nang gumaling ang aming bayan. Pinapanalangin namin ang lahat ng magiging senator judges at lahat ng opisyal sa parating na impeachment trial. Naway ang magiging pasya. Bawat pasya namin ay nakatuntong sa katotohanan, ebidensya at konsensya. Panginoong Diyos na ng katarungan, gabayan niyo kami sa paglilitis na haharapin upang masagot ng tama ang mga tanong na sino ba kami bilang mga Pilipino, bilang isang bayan? Patas ba ang batas dito sa lupang hinirang o kalasag lamang ng makapangyarihan? Tulungan niyo po kaming gawing daan. Gawing daan din ito tungo sa katarungan at katotohanan para sa bawat Pilipino. Lalo na sa pinaka madaling apihin at abusuhin. Panginoong Diyos ng kasaysayan, tulungan niyo po kaming sagutin ang hamon ng panahon at unahin ang interes ng bayan at hindi ng sarili. Tulungan niyo po kaming bigyang bigat ang hatol ng kasaysayan at hindi ng politika.
May mga gloves.
Salamat sa maraming pagkakataon niyo ng pagsakip sa amin sa tila tiyak na kaguluhan at sakuna. Panginoong Diyos na habag, ng habag, katarungan at kasaysayan, habang nagaganap ang paglilitis, ingatan niyo ang aming bansa laban sa puot, karahasan at kaguluhan, ang galit po ng taong bayan. Gawin po ninyong matinding paghahangad sa katotohanan, sa katarungan, hindi sa paghihiganti. Magtaas po kayo ng mga pinunong na unawaan na ang tungkulin sa bayan ay sagrado, na ang mga pinunong tunay na pastol, naglilingkod, hindi inaabuso ang kapangyarihan. Padaluyin ninyo ang katarungan sa Pilipinas na parang ilog at ang katwiran na parang batis na hindi natutuyo. Sa inyong habag ang paglilitis na ito, gawin niyo pong simula ng pagbabago tungo sa katapatan, pananagutan, paghilom ng aming bayan. Sa inyong banal na pangalan, kami ay nananalangin. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Pangilinan. The Servus Dei Vocal Ensemble will lead us in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. The group will also render a song entitled Bagani after singing the national anthem.
Upo, putan tuig bro. Ha?
Ayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, buyan ka ng magiling, sa manlulupi, di ka masisingin. Sa dagatang punog, sa simulan, sa langit mamaka, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang pisak ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may di magdidinig. Lupa ng araw na luwa'y bagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pa may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you very much, Servus Dei Vocal Ensemble. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Acting Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 63rd session, May 13, 2026, and consider,
I'm sorry, Majority Leader. We'll do the roll call first.
may we
Yes, my apologies.
move for the rolling of the roll call, please, Mr. President. I move to call the roll, Mr. President. Sorry.
If there's no objection, we will call the roll.
Roll call of members. Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian,
Pero saan
Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri. The Senate President is present.
Tara no? Yan ang kabatos na rin kin. Ha?
With 23 senators, Senator Bato is absent. Okay, with 23 senators present, the chair declares presence of a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we proceed, may I just be allowed to recognize guests from the gallery, guests of Senator Ligarda, Mayor Mar Mission of San Remigio Antique. Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, we would like to first of all put on record our sincerest thanks and gratitude for the valuable contribution of our Secretary General of the Senate. And I've seen firsthand his sacrifices and willingness to walk the extra mile just to preserve the dignity of the institution. So we just want to put that on record.
At the right time, I think we should honor him with a resolution.
Yes.
And is he also the first to be a secgen of both the House and the Senate? And to be fair, he actually resigned right away. I asked him to continue. And actually, I'm asking him to continue in a different manner. But, dear colleagues, the Secgen Mendoza did a great service to both houses.
We
and I'd
wanted
like
to put on
recognize
record, the name is Dong Mendoza,
Yes.
former congressman of the great province of Batangas. And with that, Mr. President, and following the relinquishment of the position by our former Secretary of the Senate, I move that we proceed to the election of a new Secretary of the Senate. So move, Mr. President.
Yes. I consulted the minority leader, and because the Secgen will also be the clerk of court of the impeachment proceeding. So there are no objections. We will proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in accordance to Rule 2, Section 2 of the Rules of the Senate, may I respectfully nominate Jose Luis Garcia Montales as the new Secretary of the Senate. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none.
Thank you, Mr. President. And there being no other nominations, may I respectfully move that the period of nominations be closed. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none. The motion is approved. Pursuant to the rules of the Senate, there being no other candidate for the position of Senate Secretary, the voting will be viva voce. Those voting for Attorney Montales, please say aye. The ayes have it. Congratulations, Attorney Jose Luis Montales. Those who are against, say nay. Okay. Thank you very much for the ayes have it. And Jose Luis Montales is hereby declared as proclaimed as the Secretary of the Senate, the second to have been both Secgen of the House and the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I move for a minute suspension to allow our new Senate Secretary to ascend the rostrum and take his oath. So move, Mr. President.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Wala si Ses. Wala si Ses. I state your full name.
I, Jose Luis Garcia Montales,
Having been elected to the position of Secretary of the Senate,
having been elected to the position of Secretary of the Senate,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
the duties of my present position,
the duties of my present position,
and of all others I may hereafter
and of all others I may hereafter
hold under the Republic of the Philippines,
hold under the Republic of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will obey the laws,
that I will obey the laws,
legal orders, and decrees
legal orders, and decrees
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and maintain true faith and allegiance
and maintain true faith and allegiance
to the Republic of the Philippines,
to the Republic of the Philippines,
and that I impose this obligation
and that I impose this obligation
upon myself voluntarily,
upon myself voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Dito mo na ito, baka mawala. Parin ko na lang. Sige po. Medyo din ako sa loob.
Nandiyan na yung sana.
Andun pa dito. Lalagyan pa sa loob.
Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 63rd Session, May 13, 2026, and consider the same as approved.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Is there any objection? If not, the motion is approved.
Messages from the House of Representatives. Letter from the House of Representatives transmitting to the Senate 27 copies of Committee Report number 261 on House Resolution number 989 titled Resolution Setting Forth the Articles of Impeachment against Vice President Sara Z. Duterte, together with the annexes thereto, and 27 USB devices containing file copies of the above.
May nagya pero silver.
Referred to the Committee on
May
Rules.
danera cellphone pwede dumping.
Letter from the House of Representatives transmitting to the Senate the sealed box containing the documents from the Bureau of Internal Revenue relative to the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Z. Duterte.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that in accordance with Section 16, Rule 6 of the Rules of Procedure in the impeachment proceedings of the House of Representatives, 20th Congress, Representatives Luis Ro, Ridon, Gutierrez, Zamora, Defensor, Diokno, De Lima, Bagao, Flores, Suon, and Chua have been elected as prosecutors in the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Z. Duterte.
Referred to the Committee on Rules. Acting Majority Leader.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr.
The
President,
Minority Leader is recognized.
I heard, and we saw the notice, the message from the House of Representatives, and you have referred the articles of impeachment to the Committee on Rules. May we know if we have already constituted the Committee on Rules?
The Committee on Rules is in the acting capacity. So in accordance with Section 19, the same members and Senator Villanueva. Actually, for your information, Minority Leader, we were in caucus and wanted to meet also the minority to start reading the committee chairmanships, but we thought it prudent to convene the court first. And then when we remove our, after we convene the court and suspend, we can go back into session to start reading the committees.
So I take it that right now the chairman of the Committee on Rules is in an acting capacity.
Yes, Senator Villanueva.
And the membership at this point would only be the ex officio members.
And the members before the all positions were declared
holdover
vacant.
from the
Holdover,
previous.
yes, in accordance with Section 19.
Will you refresh me with Section 19, Your Honor, Mr. President? Because
Yes, yes. And to be fair,
because in that
Senator
case-
Pangilinan has a interpretation question. That's why we referred this to the Committee on Rules.
Okay.
The chairman and the members of the permanent committee shall commence in the exercise of their duties upon election. They shall cease when their successors shall have been elected or designated. So since we have not yet elected or designated their successors, except for the majority leader, our interpretation that it continues. But Senator Pangilinan did bring up the seeming conflict that if it's all six vacant, then it's
Yes,
vacant. But
precisely.
then my initial statement was that you harmonize the rules, and if you harmonize it with pragmatically with what's happening, then we should never have a complete vacancy. Having said that, it is with the Committee on Rules, but I don't think Senator Villanueva scheduled it for hearing until we have the permanent members, just to be sure. And we hope to start doing that this afternoon.
we will accept that for now. It's just that,
Thank you, Minority Leader.
we make note of the manifestation. Thank you.
And I will note and recognize not only your observations today, but the observation of Senator Pangilinan. And if we need to clarify later on, it will be a good opportunity for us to look at the rules, given the 1392 present setup, unless we are overtaken by events. Yes. Majority Leader?
Correction, Mr. President, 1311.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been corrected because Senator Subiri and Senator JV said that they are independent, but same with Senator Pia and I, we started out independent, and then Senator Subiri asked us if for the purposes of we can join the majority. So it's their choice if they remain minority or they join the majority, or if you can get two more members, then you will be the new majority.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I?
Of course. Former Senate President Subiri.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would like to be associated with the minority bloc, Mr. President, if I may. Binatigos nga ako nila, sabi nila na ako'y nag-fence sitting at nag-abstain. Nag-abstain lang ako para have a free hand to vote on which issue that I think is important for the Filipino people. But when it comes to the organization, I would like to associate myself with the minority, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Subiri. So, Senator Ejercito would also like to manifest.
Yes, first of all, Mr. President, I'd like to thank Mr. President for the trust and honor that I was offered to become the majority leader. But as I have mentioned to you personally, that as of this time, I would rather maintain my independence, and with what is happening all over, I think I'll be able to perform my task very well and my net programs very well as an independent. But again, nonetheless, Mr. President, I would like to thank you for the trust and confidence. Being majority leader is a very of course it's one of the most powerful, we would say, position in the Senate. But I guess I have at this point I would like to maintain my independence.
And I also understand. I also recognize that you will say that you will be our number 14, but until the time that we vote, any member, we have to respect their decision and always ascribe good faith. So we will continue to be good friends despite the political divisions or the nomenclature of who is in the majority or the minority. So for the purposes of today to the future, and unless a change is made, will you be an independent or will you be with the minority?
Yes, for now, Mr. President, I'll be with the minority.
Okay.
But again, I would like to thank you for
Yes.
that and for the respect. And we will all still be friends. No matter. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Senator Ejercito. So the Secretariat has that noted and we can now compute the membership at a 13-11 proportion. So that we do not, we're not accused of any delay. Acting Majority Leader, what's your pleasure
Yes, Mr.
about
President.
the articles of
Yes,
impeachment?
Mr. President, just to put on record, as Senator JV made mention, his statement is for the purposes of proportional representation in the membership of committees. Also, Mr. President, Senator Lacson asked this representation to put also on record the membership of the Senate Committee on Rules or ex officio members would have to be the new ex officio members. So just to put that on record, Mr. President.
That's a correct observation from Senator Lacson.
Thank you. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, the articles of impeachment have been referred to the Committee on Rules. May I respectfully move to refer the articles of impeachment to the impeachment court. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? There's no objection. It is so referred.
Mr. President, may I move that we suspend the session to convene the impeachment court. So move, Mr. President.
If there's no objection, we will suspend and convene the impeachment court. The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte is hereby declared open. The clerk of court is directed to make the proclamation.
All persons are commanded to keep silent under pain of penalty while the Senate is sitting in trial on the articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte.
The clerk of court will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Judges. Aquino, Cayetano Pia, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Escudero, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lacson, Lapid, Legarda, Marcoleta, Marcos, Padilla, Pangilinan, Soto III, Tulfo Erwin, Tulfo Rafi, Villanueva, Villar Camilo, Villar Mark, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 senator judges present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Senator Judge Villanueva.
Yes, Mr. President, Sir Presiding Officer, may we request Senator Judge Camille Villar to ascend the rostrum to administer the oath of the Senate President.
Please raise your right hand. Impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. I state your name.
I, Alan Peter Compañero Shram Cayetano,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that in all things appertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte,
that in all things pertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte,
now pending, I will do impartial justice according to the Constitution.
I will do impartial justice according to the Constitution
And laws of the Philippines.
and the laws of the Philippines.
So help me God.
So help me God. At this time, I will administer the oath of each of the senator judges in the chamber in conformity with Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 6 of the Philippine Constitution and Rule 3 of the Senate Rules of Procedure on Impeachment Trials. May we request everyone to rise. Same oath. So, same. I state your name. Solemnly swear that in all things pertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte, now pending, I will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and the laws of the Philippines. So help me God. Senator Judge Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last Thursday, May 14, 2026, the House of Representatives, through Secretary General Cheloy Garafil, personally delivered to the Senate the articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte, pursuant to Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution, and Rule 4, Section 11 of the Rules of Procedure in impeachment proceedings of the House of Representatives. Earlier today, the articles of impeachment were referred to the Committee on Rules and consequently to the Senate sitting as an impeachment court. Mr. President, the articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte with its annexes are now presented to the court for proper disposition and action.
The same is duly noted and made of record. For the record, resolution number 39 or the rules of procedure on impeachment trial shall continue to apply. We further note that Rule 6 thereof, which provide that the provisions of the rules of the Senate and the revised rules of court shall apply suppletorily whenever applicable. The court having been organized, and the articles of impeachment having been presented, let a writ of summons be issued to the Vice President Sara Duterte, who is directed to file her answer within a non-extendable period of 10 days from receipt. Pursuant to Article 7 of the Rules of Procedure of Impeachment Trial, she is directed to appear before the session hall of the Senate of the Philippines upon notice. The Sergeant at Arms is directed to serve the written summons on Vice President Sara Duterte along with a copy of the Articles of Impeachment. The prosecution may file a reply within a non-extendable period of 5 days from receipt of the answer. The parties may file their pleadings and annexes in person or through electronic mail. All other pleadings, motions, similar papers intended for the consideration of this court may be filed electronically. We will circulate the specific instructions on the format for the pleadings and manner of electronic filing for the guidance of all parties.
Mr. President.
Senator Judge.
Thank you. Mr. President, may we be clarified when you say 10 days, is that working days or calendar days?
Calendar days.
Calendar days, and including the 5 days for the prosecution to respond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The clerk of court is hereby authorized to calendar the case for pre-trial and issue the corresponding notices to the parties after the last pleading is filed. Upon conclusion of the pre-trial, the trial proper shall commence on a date and time fixed by the court, of which the parties shall be duly notified. I approached the members of the minority of the Senate, and then later on I will approach the senator judges that we will fix the calendar together, and in pursuit of impartial justice, we will come up with a impeachment calendar that is fair to the prosecution and to the defense, and will allow us to continue to function in the legislative side of our work.
Wala na, boss.
Any other matter?
Sige.
If there no other matter, the session is suspended.
Mga dalawa, boss. Lahat. Dalawang metro po.
May jack ba kayo single? Yung medyo malaki.
2x2 lang, boss. Dalawang.
May
Iyakin mo
single.
na lang yung isa.
Magkano ba yung gano'n? Jack?
Sipuan mo nga yung pinili ko kahapon na 3 pampisig na do. Na ano, nawala yung resibo eh. Di 12 yung ginagawa ko. Yung...
Benta, boss.
Sipuan mo nga yung kahapon.
Ano pinili mo kahapon?
Yung pampisig sa butas, yung 3 100, sa nagbenta sa akin. Yung 3 piraso.
Ay, dito lang, boss. Yan ang
Yung rubber, ano, flexible rubber. Nawala yung resibo eh. So, tingin ako resibo sa kanya, yung flexible rubber kapag 3. Ayun o. Saka isa, sugod mo na lang ito. Nawala yung resibo eh. Nasama sa bubong, sa may taas. Ay nahanap yung may-ari.
Ilan yun?
Di 12 yung lalaki eh. Ano, pangalawang asawa.
Ilan yung boss?
3. Oo. Flexible rubber, lagay mo. 100 ang isa. Nasama sa bubong, nasa plastic.
Magkano yun?
100 isa. Kaya 100 bagay. Mas ito, bukod mo.
Tagal mo sa lawas? Ano lang, palangkot lang yan.
Nabusta. Ano lang ilan?
1.5 na ako na yung media, boss.
Parcha. Parchise.
Dos, saka ako na.
Ang mahal na resibo yung ano.
The 66th session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 20th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Erwin T. Tulfo will lead the chamber in prayer.
Lagay po natin ang ating mga sarili sa harap po ng Panginoong Diyos.
Dati 20 lang.
Panginoon naming Diyos, time team po kami sumasama sa inyo. Natulungan niyo po ang aming bayan na sadlak sa sandamakmak na problema ngayon.
360 lang ba?
Bukod po kasi sa problema sa mahal na presyo ng bilihin, nariyan pa rin po ang problema na walang pambayad sa pagpapagamot ng marami naming kababayan. Ang maliit na mga sahod na hindi mapagkasya at marami pa pong iba. Subalit ang pinakamalalang problema na aming inilalapit sa inyo ay tungkol sa aming mga sarili. Sa halip po na unahin ang kapakanan at mga suliranin ng aming mga mamayan, may mga pagkakataong nauna ang interes ng sarili, partido o grupo. Humihingi po kami ng patnubay sa ating mapagmahal na Diyos. Pagkos, liwanagin niyo po ang aming isipan at buksan ang aming mga mata. Naunahin muna ang pangangailangan ng aming mga kababayan. Dahil kami po ang kanilang inaasahan na tutulong at magresolba sa mga problema ng bayan. Ipaalala niyo po sa amin na hinalal po kami ng taong bayan hindi para unahin ang aming mga sarili, pamilya, ang aming mga political parties o kaalyado, kundi ang pangangailangan ng taong bayan, lalong-lalo na yung mga nasa laylayan po ng lipunan.
Apo.
Bigyan mo po kami ng lakas na loob na tanggapin, na magsakripisyo para sa kapakanan ng bayan at hindi ng aming mga sarili at mga kaalyado. Amen.
Amen. The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, Senate President Cayetano Alan is present.
With 23 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum.
Mr. President, if I may, and before we proceed, may I just acknowledge some guests from the gallery? Guests of Senator Robin Hood Padilla, athletes and coaches of the Philippine Barebow national team and their families, Miss Mariel Padilla, and the children of Senator Robin Hood Padilla are also here, members of the Padilla family. We welcome them in this August chamber. And we also would like to acknowledge, Mr. President, the guest of our Senate President, the Mindanao Evangelical Leaders Council. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, we welcome them to the Senate and thank you for being with us today. Later, we will honor our gold medalist.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 65th Session, May 19, 2026, and consider the same as approved.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13 of the Rules of the Senate, I move to elect the chairpersons of the Senate.
What's the pleasure of Senator Erwin?
Mr. President, just a quick manifestation. Sir,
Go ahead.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a manifestation. What happened inside the Senate premises last week is deeply alarming, regardless of which side one stands politically. I know you will agree with me, Mr. President. Many versions of the armed confrontation are now circulating. Statements were made that the Senate was under attack, while the executive denies of any offensive operation. Some claim that the tension was triggered by the recent changes in Senate leadership. There are allegations involving the OSAA, the NBI, and even a speculation that the shooting itself was smokescreen to facilitate an escape or create confusion. And even more disturbing are allegations attempting to implicate the minority just because nakauwi na po kami. With all due respect, Mr. President, on May 12, a day before the incident, the new Senate leadership informed the body the intention to have an all-senators caucus. On May 13, the day of the incident, around 5:02 p.m., it was modified to a majority-only caucus. Naturally, members of the minority who were no longer part of those internal deliberations eventually went home, Mr. President. To suggest that the mere fact that some senators were responsible for what later transpired just because they had already left the premises is speculative, irresponsible, and unsupported by evidence. But beyond the conflicting narratives, let us not forget the ordinary Senate employees and staff who were caught in the middle of the chaos. Mga rank and file, maintenance, security, clerk, media at iba pang empleyadong naipit lamang dahil ginagampanan po ang kanilang mga tungkulin. Yet they were the ones exposed to fear, confusion, and danger. Inside an institution where they should have felt secured. Some were traumatized, some feared for their safety. Mr. President, hindi po sila scapegoats at lalong hindi collateral damage. At the same time, we must recognize the larger damage caused by this incident. Mr. President, millions of Filipinos and even the whole world watched this unfold in disbelief. They saw the confusion inside one of the highest institutions of the government. They saw conflicting authorities, conflicting narratives in an atmosphere that appeared closer to disorder than democratic governance. Nakakahiya po sa totoo lang, Ginoong Pangulo. And because the public witnessed, the public deserves the truth. Nakaabang na po ang taong bayan. And they have been waiting since Monday. Una, ano ba ang legal na basihan sa pagpasok ng mga otoridad sa bisinidad ng Senado kung meron man po? Pangalawa, nagkaroon ba ito ng formal na koordinasyon sa pamunuan ng Senado bago isinagawa ang operasyon at ano ang naging direktiba ng liderato kaugnay rito? Pangatlo, ano po ang mga partikular na aksyon na nag-udyok at naging mitsa ng putukan? Meron bang provokasyon mula sa alinmang panig? At aling ahensya o sino-sinong individual ang direktang responsable sa pagpapaputok ng mga baril? Alam ko po, Ginoong Pangulo, wala po kayo roon. Bagkos kayo po ay nakasalalay lamang sa mga report na ibinibigay po sa inyo. Naintindihan ko po yun. Pangapat, anong mga hakbang ang ginawa upang masigurong ligtas po ang mga senador, mga empleyado at ang media bago at matapos maganap ang insidente? Ang panghuli, ano-anong mga ebidensya po ang nakalap upang magbigay linaw sa tunay na pangyayari? Ginoong Pangulo, when law enforcement operations intersect with the authority privileges and internal security protocols of another branch of government, there must be clarity, not confusion, restraint, not escalation. Alam ko po na may kanya-kanyang investigasyon ay sinasagawa ang Senado at NBI. But there is merit in the public outcry for an impartial, independent, and facts-based investigation. Mahalagang may tuguyod po ang isang proseso na patas, transparent, at may kredibilidad sa mata ng publiko. Walang undue influence, walang haka-haka. At the end of the day, Mr. President, no camp wins when public confidence in institution is weakened. The Senate is not a venue for armed confrontation, Mr. President, or competing display of forces or political theater. It is a constitutional institution governed by law, order, and respect for due process. Hindi po drama, aksyon o comedy ang hanap ng taong bayan. They are asking for truth, accountability, and stability. And that is precisely what this institution owes them, Mr. President. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
In consultation with the majority leader, I will not rule that manifestation out of order because actually it is a privileged speech or it is actually a topic for personal or collective privilege. But since it's a matter of grave importance, Senator Tulfo, I share with you the sentiment of its grave importance. Myself, I'm taking prudence and waiting for all the investigations. There are resolutions filed. It will be referred to the proper committee. But of the highest order, in accordance with our rules and constitution, is always the election of our officers organization. So unless anyone has a higher motion now, because actually members of the majority have also asked to speak on that matter. And we will allow everyone to speak on that matter, but we will proceed first with the election of our committees. Majority Leader? Minority Leader, then Senator Risa.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor, Mr. President. We concur, but the reference, the referral of the speech and the forthcoming resolutions will be later on.
Yes. Well, it's not a speech. It's a
It's a
manifestation. So unless there's a motion to refer, which let's harmonize it later on with the resolution filed by the minority.
Yes,
So that
I
we do
would
not
like to
refer
file.
it to different committees.
Yes, I will
Yes.
like to file for a motion later on.
Yes.
For the referral.
That's in order, Minority Leader. What's your pleasure, Senator Risa?
Salamat po, Mr. President. Together with the Minority Leader, I defer to the ruling earlier stated by the presiding officer. Pero just to make of record, Mr. President, nakaschedule din po ako mag-deliver sa ating agenda for the day ng privilege speech. And it so happens po,
It's the same
katulad
topic,
nung
yes.
paksa nung
Yes.
talumpati ni Senator Erwin Tulfo, and specifically moving forward from the events of last week and this week, Mr. President.
Noted. So,
And I look forward to being able to deliver that within today's session, Mr. President.
noted. So can we go to the
Thank you, Mr.
election?
President.
Senator Tulfo, so unless this has to do with the election, we will defer all of those manifestations later in accordance with our rules. What is the reason that you rise, Senator Tulfo?
Mr. President, manifestation of support
Yeah.
ng Sara.
Sorry, Senator, I made a ruling already supported by the, but I will go to you right after. Majority Leader, please recognize Senator Tulfo right after
Yes, Mr. President.
you read the committees.
Maraming salamat po.
Yes, Mr. President, with that, may I just move that we refer the manifestation of Senator Erwin Tulfo and manifestations that were mentioned to the Committee on Rules?
We will wait for the minority leader when we read the
Okay.
resolution
I
later
withdraw the
on.
motion,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Maybe we will take
Yes,
a quick...
therefore, Mr. President, we will go now to the previous motion of this representation pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13 of the Rules of the Senate. I move to elect the chairpersons of the Senate Permanent Committees. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, please proceed.
Senator Pia Cayetano as chairperson of the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations. Vice Senator Panfilo Lacson. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Pia is hereby elected.
Senator Amy Marcos, chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Relations. Vice Senator Erwin Tulfo. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Amy is hereby elected.
Senator Camille Villar, retained as chairperson of the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? If not, Senator Camille Villar is hereby elected.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla as chairperson of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes. Vice Senator Francis Pangilinan. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Robin Padilla is hereby elected to that committee.
Senator Camille Villar as chairperson of the Committee on Government Corporations and Public Enterprises. Vice Senator Mark Villar. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? If not, Senator Camille Villar is elected to that.
Mr. President, as earlier committed,
Sure.
Senator Rafi Tulfo
Yes,
would like
Senator
to,
Tulfo, I
floor.
apologize. Thank you very much for the adhering to the ruling of the chair. We will now recognize you. Afterwards, Senator Risa is raising her hand.
Mr. President, I would like to associate myself with the manifestation of Senator Erwin Tulfo. Meron lang po akong konting katanungan. Meron ho bang standard operating procedure manual ang ating USAA? Number one. Number two, pagdating po sa pag-handle ng firearms, are these the members of the USAA, are they trained? And then number three, ano-ano ho bang qualifications dito mga members ng USAA natin? Who are they? What are their qualifications to be chosen as members of the USAA? Yun lang po, Mr. President.
So, note your questions are noted, and depends on what committee we refer it to. We will consult with the minority. We'll take a recess, a short suspension when we read the committee report, because unless we agree to convert into a committee of a whole, so that the certain people can testify here, the other option is to give it to a standing committee. So let's decide that in a while.
And then lastly, Mr. President, meron bang training ang members ng USAA kung paano mag-handle ng isang problema, isang situation, and do they understand the meaning of rules of engagement? Yun lang po, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you for those questions, Senator Tulfo. Senator Risa, do you want to take the floor?
Pag-reference of business.
Yung sa song.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise on a matter of personal and collective privilege. Mr. President, halos isang linggo na matapos ang habulan at barilan dito sa Senado. Sa loob-loob ko, hindi ako mapanatag na simula nung Lunes, ang ipinapakita natin ay para bang walang nangyari. Na para bang hindi nabastos ang ating institusyon, ang ating mga empleyado at ang mga Pilipino. Hindi maliit na bagay ang nangyari dito. At lalong hindi dapat inaasa sa mga Facebook Live, press conferences at media interviews ang pagtatahi-tahi ng mga pangyayari. Ganito na ba talaga kababa ang inabot ng ating politika sa Pilipinas? Ito na ba tayo, Mr. President? Tuluyan na bang nilihis ng politika ang ating mga pamantayan sa pakikipagkapwa? The situation stooped so low that here, in and around these same august halls, may pwedeng magkasa ng baril sa harap ng mga sibilyan. Dear colleagues, kahit kailan, Hindi yan nangyari sa Pilipinas. Kahit panahon ng kudeta, not even during the darkest days of martial law, did gunfire erupt within our halls. So, whether we stand in the minority or in the majority, the Senate as an institution has sustained a profound injury to its dignity, credibility, and moral authority before the Filipino people. And this frustrates me every day since Wednesday, including in the context of initial findings from the investigation conducted by the Department of Justice, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, and the Philippine National Police, beginning to reveal various points. Patuloy pa rin ang investigasyon, Mr. President, at dapat lang. But still, this needs to be said. Kapag may nagpaputok ng barel, right here in the people's house, kapag naghasik ka ng takot sa mga empleyado, sa media, sa security personnel, at sa mga sibilyan, kapag may natroma dahil sa karahasan, at umuuwing nanginginig at hindi mapakali sa sariling bahay, lampas na ito sa isyu ng pamumulitika. Ang babastos na yan at pang-aabuso sa lahat-lahat ng ipinagkatiwala sa Senado bilang mga lingkod bayan. As we all know, democracy has always made room for disagreement. But, dear colleagues, hindi na ito political disagreement. Hindi na ito issue ng kampihan. What should trouble us is the manner by which this agreement is being settled, which reflects a broader national discourse that has become more coarse and unforgiving. When aggression is normalized and humiliation is treated as political currency. We cannot have a culture that proudly treats fellow Filipinos as enemies to be defeated, all in the name of clout. Yung mga pagbabanta, pambibintang, pananakit ng damdamin, hindi yan ang dapat ginagawang sukatan ng tapang. Kahit magkakatunggali sa politika, hindi tayo dapat ganyan sa isa't isa, lalo na dito sa Senado. Hindi ito tahanan ng ganyang kababang uri ng politika. Ngayon, higit sa kailanman, dapat manaig ang ating pagka-Pilipino. I refuse to believe na tayong mga Pilipino ay mga bulag na sumusunod sa sino mang politiko. I refuse to believe na wala nang natitirang malasakit, hiya o pagmamahal sa bayan. Kasi ang mga krisis, ang mga sakuna, hindi yan nagtatanong kung sinong kakampi mo sa politika. Lahat tayo tinatamaan at lahat tayo may responsibilidad. At tayo mismo, dito sa Senado, kaya nating magkasundo. In fact, all of the laws I myself have championed could not have passed without the support of those from across the political aisle. And I refuse to believe that this institution that has crafted laws for the most marginalized, that has conducted crucial investigations, that have moved the needle at various political junctures, is beyond repair or redemption. Let us remember, Mr. President, that we have a bicameral legislature with a Senate elected at large, precisely to have a body that can rise above parochial concerns and craft a vision for the entire nation. At kaya kong sabihin ng buong puso that this Senate has, at its best, shown that this agreement does not destroy our common duty. We have passed laws across party lines. That is why we cannot act as though nothing happened last week. Alam natin ang tama at at mali. Alam natin kapag sumosobra na. And this is what our country needs from us now. For the Senate, in this difficult hour, to reflect the best of our people. May we prove worthy of the trust that our people have placed in us. Marami pong salamat sa inyo at sa lahat, Mr. President.
Before I recognize Senator Pia and Senator Marcoleta, you know, the curious thing is the prayer of Senator Kiko and the prayer of former Senate President Tito Soto yesterday. We all agree with it. We're just looking at it from different sides of the political lens. And many of your statements today, Senator Risa, many of us, if not all, agree. But we all won't agree that parang walang nangyari. I don't know where that came from because I don't think anyone is treating it trivially. It's just a matter of how we can focus on it given that there is a real economic crisis, crisis of prices, oil crisis. Our stock is running out. We're convening into an impeachment court. You know, our staff are overwhelmed by the number of investigations, by the number of subpoenas that are here. They're asking us to produce so many things while we're also doing our own. So while we will agree with you and let's discuss later on which committee, I do not think anyone is acting as if parang walang nangyari. Senator Pia or Senator Marcoleta?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask if Senator Risa would yield to a few questions?
Can we take a minute suspension?
Flag po. Ay, yung saksakan niya. Saan dito ya ito?
Hindi, ganito rin yung kun eh. Yung aking bilhin, ayaw gumana.
Ito po.
Kuryente naman ang kailangan na rin. Magkano ba rin?
35. Isa na po. 35 plus 27, 62 lang. Wala kang bariya?
Wala. Salamat.
Okay.
Session is resumed. Before we ask the Majority Leader and Senator Marcoleta their pleasure, may I request from the members, I told the Minority Leader, the former Senate President, that this is an emotional issue, not only for us, but for the whole country, given this is the Senate of the Philippines. And it's a sensitive issue because there are words that have been used. That's why I have tried to be deliberate. Wait not only for a partial investigation, but independent. Wait for every investigation to come in. Now, many members of the majority who were here want to speak on that measure. Having said that, number one, we have athletes here and I don't want to keep them here the whole day. Number two, I was about to report this, that as Senate President, I respectfully informed the body that earlier today, 20 May 2026, the summons in relation to the articles of impeachment filed against VP Sara Duterte was duly served upon respondent Vice President Sara Z. Duterte. A copy of the summons was likewise furnished to the prosecution panel on the same date. Under the applicable rules, respondent is given 10 calendar days from service of summons within which to file her answer, and counting 10 calendar days from 20 May 2026. The last day would ordinarily fall on Saturday, 30 May 26. However, since the last day falls on the Saturday, the period shall not run till the next working day. Accordingly, the deadline for respondent to file her answer is on Monday, 01 June 2026. Furthermore, upon the prosecution panel's receipt of the respondent's answer, the prosecution shall have 5 calendar days from receipt within which to reply if they opt to do so. The deadline for the reply shall be computed from the day the prosecution actually receives the answer. I say this because we have to discuss the impeachment calendar, and the staff is ready to brief us, and if we can give this priority because we have to discuss it vis-a-vis the legislative calendar, vis-a-vis the committee hearings and the session. So if we are going to all stand today like Senator Tulfo and Senator Risa, we won't finish by midnight tonight because at least 3 or 4 senators from 8 senators from the majority wants to speak on the matter. There might be, if not those who want to speak in the minority, those who want to ask questions or interpolate. So may I ask as your Senate President na magbigayan tayo today, and if you want to put a lot of time on that on Monday, we can fully discuss. I've received some request for CCTV footage. We gave it right away to PNP. We will give it to you if you request it. We're also requesting CCTV footages from anyone who took it, including from the media, so that we can discuss it very intelligently with, I think, 24 senators committing that this is an important issue and we will give it the much needed attention. But let's do it with prudence, deliberately. We're dealing with our democracy here. No, we're dealing with law enforcement agencies, AFP, PNP, NBI, with branches of government, the executive and the legislative. So I know we all want to speak on it today, but may we include in the caucus what committee to give this to. I think the Senate President will, before we go on suspension, wants to put on record his recommendation. But if I may ask him that the actual decision, given that there are other people with other ideas, we discuss it. I don't think it's a matter that you and I should discuss, but all of us. So let me ask first, Senator Marcoleta, may I ask you if we can make a statement rather than interpolate today? Senator Risa, kung may mga gustong mag-interpolate, pwedeng sa Monday. Yeah, Senator Risa answered in the affirmative.
Yes, Mr. President, considering that I was approached by your good self just moments ago and explained the matter that there is an apparent consensus that this subject matter, also subject of Senator Risa's speech on question of privilege, I yield to the better judgment of the President of the Senate, and I will hold my questions until Monday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Marcoleta. Thank you, Senator Risa Ontiveros. Minority Leader, may I just give, you're my kuya, but she's my ate. Yeah. Senator Pia.
Mr. President, I also will not interpolate or make my own privilege speech today as requested by the Senate President. I reserve my right to make the proper interventions at the time that the Senate President and our other colleagues agree upon. But I just want to make this quick statement. Parang walang nangyari. Yan po ang statement ng ating butihing Senadora Risa Hontiveros. Siguro po para sa inyong mga wala dito. Pero para sa amin na nandito, napakaraming nangyari. Takot na takot po ako na kailangan ko na magpaalam sa mga anak ko. At yung staff ko, 2 pintuan ang pagitan ko sa putukan. Yung staff ko na si Claire, na 20 years na sa akin, nandun siya sa labas. She has a 12-year-old son. Kwento niya sa akin, Lady, na tumatakbo siya, hindi niya alam kung saan siya pupunta. Kaya para sabihin niyo na walang nangyari. Napakasakit para sa aming lahat na nandito. And as I said, 2 pintuan na nagpo-protect sa akin sa putukan. Pero yung media, yung Senate staff, yung hindi naman makauwi dahil sila ang security, sila ang elevator, women and boys natin, nandoon po sila. So dear colleagues, napakarami nang nangyari. And one more thing, wala ho akong sinisisi. Pero nung pagkatapos ng lahat, pagtingin ko ng group natin, yung dating majority group, walang di isa sa inyong nangamusta sa amin. Some of you I've known for 20 years, 10 years, and I didn't even hear any of you say, kamusta na kayo dyan? Napakasakit po sa akin. Sobrang sakit. So yun ang masasabi ko. Yes, I am very ready to share my story, to ask questions. Pero kung wala ho kayo dito, huwag niyong questionin yung mga nangyari sa mga nandito. Dahil nandito kami, kasama ng staff namin, Senate staff. You have your own story. I respect that. But please respect my own story. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, yes, of course, we sympathize with the manifestation made by Senator Pia Cayetano. But my position is merely to give a suggestion for your consideration and for the consideration of our colleagues. I think this particular issue, once culminated, should be referred to the Committee of the Whole. The reason being, it is an extraordinary remedy necessary because of the issues of Senate institutional security. With the chamber itself is affected, the institution is threatened. There are multiple Senate committees that are going to be involved: public order, justice, rules, ethics, even finance, because of the procurement of the weapons allegedly that were used. So the Senate has a direct institutional stake, every senator. So this is not just majority or minority. So therefore, may I give a suggestion that you consider the possibility of all these manifestations be referred to the Committee of the Whole. And in the past, the Committee of the Whole, when we investigated formally, we investigated PhilHealth, it was the Senate President that chaired the Committee of the Whole, unless he appoints a co-chair.
This representation always takes, you know this, Your Honor, always takes your suggestions seriously. So you're suggesting we use Rule 14 and Section 14 of the rules and create a special committee, the Committee of the Whole. Is that correct? Yes.
Mr. President, if I may, Mr. President.
And before that, since we're going to go into caucus to speak about the calendar, may I ask the Minority Leader if it's acceptable that we discuss it there? Later in the caucus, just so that we don't have to discuss everything on the floor and we don't make, and we get the other business that we have to do today done with.
Can I, Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr.
Majority
President,
Leader.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, but just to put on record, there are a lot of senators who wanted to speak and reserve their
On
right
this issue.
on this particular
Put
issue.
it on record so that we
yes,
can
we have
manage.
Senator Mark Villar, Senator Camille Villar, Senator Jingoy Estrada, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Bongo, Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Win Gatchalian, and even this representation, Mr. President. So, if I may, Mr. President, and with the indulgence of our colleagues, I think we already made that decision that on Monday, come Monday, we can talk about this, Mr. President, and of course, entertain the idea being raised by our minority leader. So, with that, Mr. President, may I just move that we proceed with the reference of business so that the resolutions
I just have to recognize Senator Ontiveros with that pakiusap of everyone.
we yield, Mr. President, we yield to the distinguished lady, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. I empathize with the experiences and the feelings expressed by the gentlewoman from Taguig and Pateros. May I just repeat what I clearly stated at the context of na parang walang nangyari. I'm talking about ngayon, after those terrible events that caused fear and a lot of other negative emotions and experiences sa ating mga colleagues, sa ating mga Senate staff, sa security unit dito at sa Senate media. Yun po yung punto ko, and it is akin to one of the points raised by Senator Erwin earlier before my privileged speech.
But let me
just
assure
to
you
correct
that's not
that,
the
Mr.
case.
President.
In fact, I have to
Yeah.
deal with the security of the Senate every day. I'm just not telling you everything that we have to deal with now to make sure that there's no bombs in the in the area, just like every day except this time, and also making sure that there's no miscommunication between the executive, legislative, judiciary, and the international community. That's precisely why we are waiting for the complete investigation, because there are matters that when are discussed in public will cause more alarm and confusion rather than clarity. But that doesn't mean na parang walang nangyari lang. I think that's the point where there will be strong answers, Senator Risa. But of course, you have your point of view, and we respect that.
Thank you, Mr. President. And lastly, just for the record, as I said earlier, I deeply respect the emotions of our distinguished colleague. It's evident that the violence that breached our halls has profoundly affected all of us. And I don't doubt, Mr. President, the leadership's personal distress over what transpired. However, when I stated that it feels now as though walang nangyari, I was not speaking about our personal feelings. I was speaking about our institutional posture.
Thank you for
Our belief as senators is valid, but our mandate requires action. Salamat po ng marami, Mr. President.
Thank you for that statement. And personally, I've stated this again and again. And I don't doubt the sincerity of President Marcos when he called to check if we are safe and to assure us that it wasn't an attack from the executive department. I don't doubt that. That's why we're waiting for the full investigation. Thank you. Majority Leader, let's
Yes,
proceed.
Mr. President, just to put on record, it's really way different when you are here inside this Senate premise, especially during the time when we were inside that one room, Mr. President. I would still recall the gunshots, the smelling of gunpowder, Mr. President, and everything that we had experienced. So it's really different, Mr. President. Just want to put that on record. With that, Mr. President, may I move now to that we proceed with the reference of business.
Yes. Please proceed.
Message of the President of the Philippines. Letter of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. dated May 5, 2026, resubmitting for the Senate's consideration and concurrence the agreement between the Manila Economic and Cultural Office in Taiwan and Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in the Philippines for the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to taxes on income, which was signed on April 24, 2025 in Manila.
Referred to the Committee on Foreign Relations.
Bills on first reading. Senate Bill number 2128, an act upgrading the salary grade of dentists employed in the public sector, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes by Senator Hontiveros.
Referred to the Committees on Civil Service, Government Reorganization and Professional Regulation, Health, Demography, and Finance.
2129, an act strengthening further the powers and functions of the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, amending for the purpose RA number 7 7916, otherwise known as the Special Economic Zone Act of 1995, as amended by RA number 8748 by Senator Tulfo R.
Referred to the Committee on Economic Affairs and Ways and Means Committee.
2130, an act establishing a comprehensive framework for the development, promotion, and protection of the Philippine ube industry, declaring ube as a national priority crop, creating the Philippine Ube Industry Council, providing for quality standards and geographic indication, protection, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes by Senator Tulfo R.
Referred to the Committees on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship, Ways and Means, and Finance.
2131, an act lowering the cap on the recoverable rate of system losses chargeable to consumers, amending for this purpose Section 10 of RA number 7832, otherwise known as the Electric Transmission Lines Materials Pilferages Act of 1994 by Senator Marcoleta.
Referred to the Committee on Energy and Public Services.
2132, an act declaring ube, commonly known as the purple yam, as the national root crop of the Philippines and recognizing its cultural, agricultural, and economic significance by Senator Tulfo R.
Referred to Committee on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform.
Resolutions, PSR number 392, resolution directing the appropriate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the alleged irregular importation of rice by the Planters Products Incorporated by Senator Marcos R. Senator Marcos.
1 minute suspension. Session resumed. Referred to the Blue Ribbon Committee.
Resolution number 393, directing the Senate Committee on Migrant Workers to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the current implementation of the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers and to review the existing monitoring measures adopted by the Department of Migrant Workers and the Maritime Industry Authority to ensure the protection, well-being, and continued safety of Filipino seafarers, especially those deployed in high-risk maritime areas by Senator Tulfo R.
Referred to the Committee on Migrant Workers.
394, congratulating and commending the Philippine National Barebow Archery Team for winning 1 gold and 2 bronze medals in the Malaysia Barebow Asia Championship by Senator Padilla.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
395, expressing the sense of the Senate, urging Senator Ronald Bato M. De La Rosa to voluntarily surrender to the proper authorities and seek judicial remedies in accordance with the Constitution and applicable laws and rules by Senators Pangilinan, Soto III, Lacson, Hontiveros, and Aquino IV.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
396, directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the reported entry, presence, deployment, participation, or involvement of personnel of the National Bureau of Investigation, other law enforcement or security agencies, and private individuals in the incidents that took place within or in the immediate vicinity of the Senate premises on May 11, 2026 and May 13, 2026, including the discharge of firearms, security breaches, and any attempt to implement, facilitate, or enable an arrest or custodial transfer within Senate premises by Senator Marcos.
Minority Leader, may I consult whether you want me to initially refer to Committee on Rules or will we defer first the referral of all resolutions with the same nature and including the manifestation of Senator Erwin Tulfo and the statements of Senator Ontiveros? Should we give it first the rules or defer muna any referral?
If you please, Your Honor, either to the Committee of the Whole or...
Party first to the rules.
Would
what's the pleasure, whether rules or defer, while we're discussing whether we will create?
Rules muna. All right.
Then we will discuss
We
in
can
the caucus
discuss,
whether
yes.
we will
If all of these resolutions
In accordance with Rule
and the
14.
manifestations be referred to later on,
Yes.
because of the 5 committees involved, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes, Mr. President, I was just going to suggest, but it has already been suggested, that this be first referred to the Committee on Rules, subject to a possible referral
Yes.
to perhaps the Committee of the Whole.
And with the permission of Senator Tulfo and Senator Tiveros, we'll refer your statements today to the Committee on Rules and take it together.
Without prejudice for it to its referral to
Yes.
another committee,
Yes.
as may be decided by the Senate. Thank you, Mr.
So there's no objections with the qualifications of Senator Pangilinan. PS Resolution 396 and all statements on the same matter today from Senator Tulfo, Senator Tiveros, Senator Cayetano, and Senator Marcoleta are referred to the Committee on Rules.
Si Rola daw.
397, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committees to conduct
Wala,
an inquiry
te.
of legislation
Kuwang
into the
natin
shooting
kasi, Rola.
incident that occurred within the Senate premises on May 13, 2026, within in view of strengthening security protocols, protecting the integrity and independence of the Senate as a democratic institution, ensuring the safety of Senate personnel and the public, and reviewing existing laws, rules, and coordination mechanisms governing security in government institutions by Senator Aquino.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
398, commending and congratulating Team Pilipinas Poveda and Siende for winning the gold medal for Open Hip Hop in the 2026 International All-Star Federation Dance Worlds and silver medal for Junior Hip Hop in the 2026 International Cheer Union World Championships by Senator Go.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
399, commending and congratulating the Gilas Pilipinas Women 3x3 team for winning the silver medal in the 2026 FIBA 3x3 Asia Cup by Senator Go.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
400, commending the Senate media for their bravery and professionalism during their coverage of the May 13, 2026 shooting incident at the Senate by Senator Hontiveros.
Referred to the Committee on Rules. Before the additional reference of business, Majority Leader, you want to make
Sige,
a
kuha na lang ito. Baka dati mo.
we will